is Friday, January 15. Welcome to CGN News. Caribbean tourism officials are rushing to increase COVID-19 testing as Canada, the US, and UK demand that travelers present a negative result. Some vacation spots face a strain on their testing resources as more governments take steps to curb a second wave of the pandemic. Vanessa Ledesma, acting CEO of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, says the regulations are a huge challenge for the region due to a lack of testing equipment and lab facilities. The U.S. is the most recent country to require passengers to present a negative test within 72 hours of departure. Jamaica's Ministry of Health and Wellness says a total of 30,000 antigen test kits have been distributed to 6 private laboratories to support national testing efforts for COVID-19. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said this is another example of public-private partnership around testing as part of Jamaica's COVID-19 response. The labs are Micro Labs Limited, Biomedical, MD Link, Winchester Medical, and Technological Solutions Limited. According to the ministry, the donation of 30,000 SD biosensor test kits will support the laboratory's offer of testing beginning next Monday, January 18, pending the arrival of their own supplies within 2 weeks. Barbados Ministry of Maritime Affairs on Thursday informed the public that there have been sightings of sharks in neighboring Caribbean islands. A ministry statement said that while there have been no reports of sharks in Barbadian waters, all sea bathers, watercraft operators, fishermen, and all others using the sea are asked to exercise great caution. In addition, sea bathers are advised not to swim alone or in deep waters where possible. The ministry has asked persons who believe they have seen or encountered a shark to notify officials immediately. The Jamaican government has extended the island-wide curfew and other measures under the Disaster Risk Management Act until Sunday, January 31. The curfew is set to expire today. However, the government says an extension is needed as the country continues to assess the degree of spread of COVID-19 over the holiday season. The island-wide curfew hours will remain in place commencing at 10 p.m. nightly and ending at 5 a.m. each morning. All other measures, including the prohibition on parties and events, as well as measures relating to travel, burials, and weddings, remain in effect until the end of January. The governments of Haiti and the Dominican Republic have signed 9 agreements to confront the issues of irregular migratory flow, trade, and maritime borders. Both nations share the island of Hispaniola. Presidents Jovenel Moïse and Louis Abinader of Haiti and Dominican Republic respectively signed the agreements following a meeting held on Sunday. Both said that they take the appropriate measures to deploy technologies that facilitate the elimination of irregular migratory flow and other illegal activities. The leader also agreed to start the process of registration of all citizens of Haiti who are in Dominican territory and open the negotiation process to delimit the maritime borders between the two countries. President Donald Trump's impeachment trial could begin on Inauguration Day, just as Democrat Joe Biden takes the oath of office. The timing is not set and depends heavily on when House Speaker Nancy Pelosi decides to transmit the article of impeachment to the Senate, the Associated Press reports. Democrats, hoping to avoid interrupting Biden's inauguration, have suggested holding back until the new president has a chance to get his administration going. What is clear is that the trial will be unlike any other in the nation's history, the first for a president no longer in office, and politically it will force a reckoning among some Republicans who have stood by Trump throughout his presidency and largely allowed him to spread false attacks against the integrity of the 2020 election. Florida was one of the first states to throw open vaccine eligibility to members of the general public over 65, leading to rumors that tourists and day trippers are swooping in solely for the jab. State officials have moved quickly to deny these reports. Governor Ron DeSantis said stories of people flying to Florida, getting vaccinated and returning home are overblown. While there have been scattered reports of such interlopers, DeSantis said the non-residents who are getting shots are almost entirely snowbirds, residents who live in the state for several months during the winter and who could infect others if they aren't vaccinated. The FBI is tracking an extensive amount of online chatter, including calls for armed protests leading up to next week's presidential inauguration, Director Chris Wray said Thursday. Wray, in his first public appearance since the January 6 riot at the U.S. Capitol, said that the FBI remains concerned about the potential for violence at protests and rallies in Washington and in state capitals around the country. Wray said the FBI was receiving a significant amount of information that it was pushing out to other law enforcement agencies ahead of the inauguration. Federal officials have warned local law enforcement agencies that the riot at the Capitol is likely to inspire others with violent intentions. A global team of researchers arrived Thursday in the Chinese city where the coronavirus pandemic was first detected to conduct a politically sensitive investigation into its origins. The group sent to Wuhan by the World Health Organization was approved by President Xi Jinping's government after months of diplomatic wrangling that prompted an unusual public complaint by the head of WHO. Scientists suspect the virus that has killed more than 1.9 million people since late 2019 jumped to humans from bats or other animals, most likely in China's southwest. The ruling Communist Party, stung by complaints it allowed the disease to spread, has suggested the virus came from abroad, possibly on imported seafood, but international scientists reject that hypothesis. And finally, a racing pigeon survived an 8,000-mile journey crossing from the United States to find a new home in Australia. But authorities now consider the bird a quarantine risk and plan to kill it. A Melbourne resident said on Thursday he discovered the exhausted bird in his backyard on December 26. It had disappeared from a race in the U.S. state of Oregon on October 29. Experts suspect the pigeon, named Joe after the U.S. president-elect, hitched a ride on a cargo ship to cross the Pacific. Joe's feat has attracted the attention of the Australian media, but also the Australian Quarantine and Inspection Service. They say the pigeon is not permitted to remain in Australia because it could compromise the country's food security and wildlife bird populations. That's it for CGN News. Join us on Saturday, January 16 at 6 p.m. for the CGN presentation of our 2020 Year in Review on IRIJamRadio.com and IRIJam 360. Thanks so much for watching.